Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in. Happy belated Valentine's Day. I still haven't finished wearing all of my Valentine tops, so here's yet another one. For Valentine's, I know some of you asked me like what Michael had gotten me. I don't know if you can see, but he did get me little heart earrings. And, members, you saw the video of us going away to Cape Cod for a couple of days, and it was just so picturesque. It was literally snowing outside. And we were just sitting by the fireplace and we couldn't have asked for a better time. It was gorgeous. Members, I just wanted to remind you that this Monday, the 21st, for the Going Beyond members, Angel Tarot, that's where I picked 25 of you and I read you on your questions that you have for me. And then for all members at 8 p.m., that's Eastern, so that would be 5 p.m. Pacific, the live Rahasha channeling. So that's also where you get to ask the Ra Collective questions. Members, you also have 3 fantastic videos coming out this weekend. The reason I'm saying this weekend is because I am in the middle of a huge storm right now, and these are meditation videos, which I'm going to have to edit before I upload, and I'm going to need electricity. So they're telling us that we're going to be losing power soon. So I'm trying to do everything as fast as I can, but you have 3 videos coming out and they're past life regressions to see, because this is part of Discover Your Soul's design class. And you can take that whenever you want. It's in the playlist. And a regression to Atlantis, Lemuria, and by popular request, Avalon. Because I know some of you feel a real connection to Stonehenge, Druidism, even the times of, like Merlin and King Arthur, or a connection to the UK, anything like that. I thought we would see if you had any real connection to that time, if you had a past life at that time. I know a lot of you did really well with the last past life regression. So here's 3 more coming, but give me a couple of days because they're saying that we're going to lose power and it keeps blinking. So at least with these videos, I don't usually have to edit them. I just put them straight up and we'll see what happens. But some of you too, I've noticed, throughout the last few months when I ask all of you for questions, some of you have asked me about Stonehenge. And I thought I would answer that before I get into looking at the new news about 45 and then taking a deeper look at Russia and Ukraine. But one time I did do a meditation with the Ra to look at Stonehenge. I wanted to see if I could see something, feel something, experience something. And what I was shown was a pretty obvious ritual. It was something to do with autumn time, and they were celebrating the harvest. So they were there looking up also at the night sky. It seemed like the stones were in some sort of special alignment with the sky. And I could see the druids in their robes, but I could also see women in like long, loose gowns carrying these big, beautiful baskets of what they had harvested. There was like grains, vegetables, fruits, and they were sort of walking like in and out between the stones at Stonehenge. And I could hear chanting from the druids. So that's my little glimpse of Stonehenge, that it was used in ritual for kind of like practical purposes in a sense, in terms of spirituality, like giving thanks for a good harvest, that sort of thing. So I hope that helps for all of you that have been asking that. So let's take a look first with 45. So it just got determined that he must testify to the New York Attorney General, Letitia James. Of course, he's going to appeal it, right? Because that's what he does. So no surprise there. And also Ivanka and Junior. So let's take a look at that. And if you're not familiar, I wrote down specifically what this case was about because there's so many at this point. It's hard to keep track. This is the fraud investigation where the 45's organization inflated the worth of their real estate. So that way they could get better loans, better tax benefits, better insurance rates, things like that. So it's a fraud investigation, okay, that has to do with the 45's organization. Okay, so let's take a look and see how that goes. I mean, we already know that he's going to contest it, so I'm not going to bother to look at what we know because a leopard doesn't change its spots. We know the outcome of that situation. At the end of this video, you know, I did that special love reading for the members, but I'm going to end this video, I almost forgot to tell you this, using the romance angel cards for anyone who's single. It'll be a 3-card pull on anyone who's single and curious about your future, okay? Almost forgot to tell you that. Okay, so what do we need to know, Spirit? Okay, so I did have a card jump out, which I'm not surprised. Like, the cards are feeling really energetic. So the card that jumped out is the Page of Cups. So we get this a lot. You know, Hogarth calls it the stinky fish. I will be on his channel tomorrow night, Saturday night. I'm sure if I lose power, it'll be restored by then because I'm on the same line as the hospital. So if it goes, it's usually less than 24 hours, usually. There's been a few times, though. So, and Lena will be there because Lady G, she is going to her daughter's wedding. So she won't be there, but that's a great reason, right? So this has all to do with relationships and partnerships that this organization has had. Some of them are not good. You probably already know that his, you know, tax accountants and all of those people, that firm pulled away from him this week. I mean, he's had a terrible week, let's face it. He's being abandoned and he's now being forced to do things that we know he doesn't want to do. His obstacle, he gets the card of celebration. Yeah, there's no celebration right now for him. There is nothing joyous. There is no good times with friends right at this moment. And then what do we get? King of Swords. Not a surprise. So, I mean, he can certainly represent anything judicial because he's holding the sword of truth. You know, that sword is double-sided, meaning it's fair and balanced. It's moral and ethical. And so, yes, this is indeed going to court. He can contest whatever he wants. It's not really going to matter. And it's, ooh, okay. So it's going to be a ruthless battle. This is not going to be easy. This is going to be a really tough fight. But this also talks about abuse of power. And, you know, as this character looks back, he's asking, was it worth it? Because I think when everything is said and done, he's going to ask, was it worth it? Because if he does actually testify and doesn't plead the fifth, anything he says can be used against him in all those other cases because it's under oath. So abuse of power, was it worth it? A huge battle. Deceit, deception, lies. So, oh gosh, these cards are terrible. So things are going to come to light, you know. So what does this ruthless battle and abuse of power have to do with? Things that were done discreetly, like sort of in the dark, you know, in the darkness of night, undercover. Things that haven't seen the light of day yet. And then, are you surprised? How often do we get this card? And so, you know, to me, this is a card of sinful deeds and greed. And to just solidify the greed aspect, you know, I've gotten this card many, many times at 45. Not surprised that's coming up again. And okay, there we go. But it's not going to move as quickly as we like. So we also get this card a lot too, right? So this tells me, all right, it's going to be a bit hung up in court for a bit, which also tells all of us that he's going to, you know, try to contest this, right? So he's going to try to push it all off for as long as he humanly can, but I don't think it really matters, does it? You know, it's all going to have the same effect either way. I'm going to move my camera down. So if you feel sick when the camera gets moved, look away for 1 second. Okay. Because it was getting hard for me to show my hands. I felt like I was holding them up here somewhere. Okay, let's take a peek at Ivanka. Let's see what's going on with her. You know, she's not in a good place. You know, going into her energy, she is certainly not happy. This is not the outcome she wanted. But at the same time, she knew it was coming. You know, she's not a dumb person. She knew, and she knows what she's done. I mean, that's the thing. You know, we speculate and, you know, we have to do this to get answers. But at the same time, she knows. You have to remember, like, these people, you know, 45, Junior, her, they all know. They know what they've done, which makes it probably 100 times worse. So in terms of anxiety. So the truth is coming out. Here's the sort of truth again. Okay, here we go. So that's probably her worst fear. Probably her worst fear, right? For somebody who likes to live in that moonlight energy, this is probably the worst fear. Oh, so this is going to affect her finances. You know, this is the card of a wealthy, independent woman. You know, the saying with this card is being wealthy in one's own garden. You know, she's enjoying her beautiful garden. She even has her bird with her. This is 9 of Pentacles. You know, it's a great card, except for when it's in the obstacle position. Now look at the next card. She gets the card of poverty. She gets the card of poverty, of losing it all. Destitution. You know, these two characters, you know, one is crippled. You know, they're stuck out in the snow. They are clearly homeless. They don't have, you know, food and shelter. And why? Because of relationships, partnerships, connections that she made with people that she shouldn't have, which leads to grief, sorrow, despair, loss. And then she also gets the card of the ruthless battle, abuse of power. Was it worth it? So it's nice that there's some synchronicity with, you know, the last reading and she. So, yes. And then let's take a quick look at Don Jr. Let's see. What do we need to know? Oh, see, when I go into his energy, I feel sheer panic. Whereas with Ivanka, I get more like sadness, sorrow. But with him, I am like feeling like I just want to hyperventilate. Like I can't get in a breath. Oh, it's actually making me dizzy. I have to get out of his energy. He is not doing so well right now. So I would say like where Ivanka is depressed, he is like extremely anxious, having panic attacks. Which goes to show you then that there's more to the story, isn't there? There's things that we don't know. But I think we all have a pretty good inkling, don't we? As time, you know, has unfolded things, we start to see more and more. Okay, let's take a look. Okay, so the first card is, I'm going to take it, you know, like, because cards have levels and layers, and he acted foolishly. This is the Fool card. He acted foolishly, and he knows it. You know, and here he is about to step off a cliff. His obstacle is there's no balance, there's no harmony, there's no peace. You know, when you get the Temperance card, it's great, right? Like everybody wants the Temperance card. It's, you know, there's nothing really negative about it. But it does also talk about doing things in moderation. And I don't think that that was a real strength for anyone within that 45 organization. Okay. So yeah, and that's what I was getting, was like sheer anxiety. And, you know, here he is getting like, he has no peace of mind. It's going to court. Here's the Judgment card. It's going to court. This is going to be, he's going to be judged. He's going to be judged. He is trying to persevere. You know, he's like this character. He's feeling sort of bandaged and like he's been through a battle, but he's trying to hang on. And it's just, and how often do we get this to represent 45's organization? How often do we get this? So he was very much a part of all of this, a part of that money that was being fraudulently claimed, you know, all of that. And so and this is like legacy money, you know, it's big corporation money, it's legacy money, but also too, don't forget the other thing with the 10 of Pentacles, which is it's the only card that has 3 generations of a family. It has the grandparents, the parents, and the children. And look at it. This is affecting the whole 45 family, right? So yeah, he's not in a good place. his thoughts are extremely conflicted, which is kind of what I was getting anyways. So yeah, he's not in a great place. I think we know what's going to happen there, but yeah. So I thought we would take a look at the whole situation with Putin and Ukraine. I would take a look at Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, see, how he's feeling and doing. There was that attack. They're trying to say it's by Russian separatists and not, the Russian military. But, honestly, I think I've told you before, my father was a veteran and he served in the Korean War. And what these separatists did is exactly what my dad did, in a sense, in terms of how they dressed themselves and all of that. The same as what my dad did. So it's not uncommon during war for the soldiers to take the patches off of their uniforms before they do whatever deed they have to do behind enemy lines. So like, say before my dad went to the Battle of Pork Chop Hill, he was told, because he was in the Airborne, the 11th Division, which later got rolled into the Green Berets for the Vietnam War. He was told to take all the patches off. Why? It's not because they can't identify them as being American. Of course they can. Just like the Ukrainian people knew that those were Russians. But it makes it so your enemy doesn't know what division you're a part of. So they don't know if they just catch you randomly. They don't know if you came by land, sea, air. They have no idea of what equipment you might have, what people might be following you, how many of you there might be, what sort of intel you might have. It's a very common technique. So when I heard that they were dressed exactly like the soldiers, but without the patches, I was like, oh, okay, this sounds kind of familiar to all my dad's stories, that every time he jumped behind enemy lines, they take the patches off so they're not as easily identified if they're captured. So yeah, I'm not, because obviously they did bomb that kindergarten, and thank heavens it was empty. I mean, seriously, just horrible. But do I believe that this was some rogue group? And there's rumors that they came from and they went back to the Russian military. And that's been sort of my experience, just listening to all my dad's stories. Like, yeah, I mean, he would have been dressed exactly like an American soldier, just minus the patches, because that's what we did. And that's probably, I mean, I don't study anything to do with war and battles, but I bet you if you did, that's probably a common technique that they did. And when you blow up something like a kindergarten, it's to intimidate, especially an empty one. That is just to prove that you can do it. It's a scare tactic. And how hideous is that, So I wanted to take a full look at that situation, okay? I wanted to take a full look at what Putin has planned. I know I'm one of the few people that said this a long time ago, that he wasn't just bluffing. He was going to do something, and he wasn't just going to walk away and say, oh, I'm good, just joking. That's not his, you don't have to be psychic to know that. That's not his personality. He wants to make sure that Ukraine is never part of NATO. That keeps him a little bit safer in his mind. And, he wants to take it over if he can. And, it's Europe's breadbasket. You control food, you can control an awful lot, can't you? Okay. Yeah, okay, so the cards are clearly showing that, because I did a Celtic cross, are clearly showing that he's not just walking away anytime soon. So his thoughts are conflicted. He is trying to figure out the best way to do this without him getting hurt, without his country getting hurt, without hurting the economy for Russia and himself. So yeah, he's having all these thoughts and ideas, and I think the people around him too are saying, hey, like, maybe this isn't the best idea and that sort of thing. His obstacle is my card for the US, the star card. He knows that we're a problem for him. We're a problem. And so we keep sending over more and more troops. So yeah, I think that's accurate. His conscious thoughts are speeding up, and he's trying to think of more ways to attack. His subconscious thoughts, there's a little part in his brain that's saying, oh, I could just walk away. I could just walk. I could leave. I could just go. I could end this. In the past, and I would say, I'm not going to go too far into the past, but I'd say more like recent past. We know that he's paranoid, right? So we know that he has anxiety, stress, worry, sleepless nights. Not a surprise. In the near future, short term, he's not getting a lot of support. He's not getting the support that maybe he was thinking he was going to get or that he was hoping he was going to get. Here he is all alone. The way he sees himself, and you got to kind of get a chuckle, 6 of Pentacles, like he's a benevolent leader. Because this character, is fair and balanced, right? You can see the scales and giving to the poor. So he has like this delusion about himself, which is a little bit frightening, isn't it? Because we don't see him as this philanthropist, do we? The way other people see him, he gets the Death card. So there could be those that know things that we do not. And I think when you're talking such an extreme case, it could mean literal. Or it could at least mean the end of his political career. But I don't see how we can just leave his post and go on like everything's fine. I'm not sure how that would work. Certainly didn't work for the Romanovs, right? His hopes and fears. He really wants this to work. So this is a hope. And he probably fears that it's not going to work. And he's being very meticulous and diligent because, out of all the world leaders, he is rather intelligent. He is shrewd. I mean, he was with the KGB. This is a man who knows what he's doing, which makes it all the worse, I think, because he does come up with plots and plans and strategies. And when I looked at the outcome, I took the 3 cards, the last 3 cards, and looked at the outcome. He actually is going to get a bit of help. So there is a bit of help coming his way. We do know that he's sent a lot of people to Syria, a lot of like his generals and some of his other, people in politics. He's trying to get Syria. We know that he signed an agreement with China. So this is the card of community support, 3 of Pentacles. However, he is doing things the old-fashioned way. This is the only card that only has children, and it talks about the past, like childhood, right? So it's about being stuck in the past and doing things the same way. And the thing is, it's 2022. We don't live in that same world that he's thinking of. And he is going to make new partnerships. So that would actually support the 3 of Pentacles, coming up with new partnerships, new friendships, new contracts, new alliances. And let me just pick one more. Let me just give the cards a nice shuffle and just pick one more for that. Okay. So we know it's about money. So I can't say, all right, I can't say that I'm shocked that I got the Page of Pentacles. So, but the thing is though, I sort of feel like he doesn't have enough money to really make this all work. I mean, first of all, it's a poor country and their military budget is just a fraction of what ours is. I mean, I think if you put China and Russia's together, you still wouldn't get what we spend. So there is going to be like a money issue, which restricts him. Okay, so it restricts him. So that could be an issue. I mean, he can only fight for so long until you run out of money, right? And then here he is leaving. The saying with this card is going to smoother waters. So, yeah, I think he is going to try what he's going to try. He's not going to just give up and walk away. That's not his nature. That's never been who he is. And the thing is, we can turn around and say, okay, fine, Ukraine will never be a part of NATO. We can give him that part, I guess. I'm not sure if that's fair to Ukraine, but of course, too, if we don't, then he's just going to put missiles near us, right? Because if we start putting, missiles and stuff in Ukraine, then he would just do it back to us. But we can do that concession, I suppose, but I mean, anything else that he's asking, we can't really do. So, I mean, we're kind of limited to how much we can really negotiate, right? And I mean, because we don't want to hurt Ukrainian people. So let's take a quick look at Zelensky, the president of Ukraine. You know, it's kind of interesting how, you know, you have this man that was once a comedian and an actor, now running a country, right? Maybe that's how people felt when, you know, Reagan was president. But let's see what's going through his mind, what's going on with him. Because even though I know he's trying to be, you know, sort of calm, cool, collected, this has to be stressful. I mean, how can it not be, right? How can it not be? So I had a card jump out, and it's the card of trying to juggle finances, Two of Pentacles. So this just jumped out. So he's trying to juggle money. You know, Ukraine has been asking for more money, for, you know, more everything, but, you know, it hasn't really worked. He's trying to exercise good judgment. He's trying to really figure things out, do everything the right way. And he's going to keep moving forward. He's going to try to, you know, take control of things, keep moving forward. I think try to keep everything even keeled as best as he can. Why? Look at this. So the children and the families are okay. I think his priority is on families and children. So Ukrainian families and children. So that speaks, you know, to me, volumes about him. So those are his primary concerns. But if you notice, we didn't get any cards of anything deceitful or excessive worry or anything like that. So interesting. So let's do this for anyone who is single and you're wondering, where's my love life going? This is the Romance Angel deck. And just take a deep breath. Let Spirit guide you to which card Spirit thinks you need to hear the message from today. 1, 2, or 3. Okay, here we go. Card 1. Keep an open mind. This is so important. Your soulmate may differ from your usual type and expectations. So often we say, well, if they're not blonde hair and blue eyed, then I don't want them. Or, you know, we have like these certain expectations. And you know what? Your soulmate is going to be your soulmate. And they may not look or have the profession or be the race or whatever. They could be a little different than what you think. But if you close off, you know, yourself and you are very narrow-minded like that, it's going to affect who you attract. Card number 2 is great. Very soon, very soon. Clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you now. So often we tell the universe what we don't want. We say things like, oh, I'm so afraid of being alone. I'm so lonely. I'm never going to find somebody. I'm getting too old. I'm not lovable. And we're telling the universe all the things that we don't want. So say, I am so happy and grateful that I'm in a soulmate relationship. And then thirdly, worth waiting for. So, you know, divine timing, right? Divine timing is at work in your love life. It'll happen when it's supposed to happen. And, you know, like, look at me and Michael. I did nothing to attract him. I didn't even leave my house. I didn't go to one bar or club or do the online dating, nothing. He just contacted my brother one day because my brother uses our real last name and I don't on Facebook. And we connected that way. And so, but I was doing all the law of attraction work to attract a soulmate. And so hopefully that gives a little bit of hope to everybody. All right, everyone, it was such a pleasure doing this video. Please like, subscribe, become a member, leave me a comment, okay? Bye, everyone.